The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
It is a Thursday here inside the SWBC podcast studio at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, and this is Dak Prescott Thursday. Here on Mick Shots.
Okay.
Everson Walls, Mickey Spagnola, Bill Jones, but the focus is on Dak because why, Mickey?
Because today is his day to do his
day.
interview.
Like it's his
right.
day. Yes.
So sometime within the course of the next half hour, probably,
He'll start.
Dak Prescott will be speaking with the media here, and we will give you reports as soon as we can on what he is saying about his status for Sunday night against the Minnesota Vikings.
Wish we could be there.
At Minnesota or Dak's press conference?
Both.
What do you think?
I should have had
want to see. You want to see the practice itself, right?
I wish we had I don't think the wireless mic would go that far, right? I could stand there and just hold it.
Oh, Mickey saw the practice, not the entire practice.
Yeah, not the part that counts.
Yeah, and you're going to give us the same report you did yesterday. Please don't make it be as long as yesterday's.
They did karaoke again, by the way.
Okay, good.
I'm sure you guys knew that.
Yeah, I heard they were singing Prince.
Right? Yeah.
They were Everson,
what song did they sing?
They were playing Prince.
Yes, of course. We're going to Minneapolis.
As I said,
the late, great.
Absolutely did not want to set him up for that yesterday.
Oh, man, that's funny.
So he continued his rehab.
Okay.
Basically kind of upgraded a little bit faster. I saw no residual effect of whatever he did yesterday. So I'm here. I'm in. He's good to go. Mm-hmm. I'll just say it right now. And he actually, I saw him do some running too. It wasn't just with the cords. And he actually took a snap and did a read option and kept the ball and ran into the end zone. So.
Oh wow!
But this was not. And it was a touchdown.
That was for you guys. That was just for you guys.
Did you tweet that Dak just scored a touchdown?
It wasn't in team. It was just in their little.
You know he's messing with you guys, right?
What?
I mean, everything Dak does now, you know it's for the media.
Everybody's keeping an eye on everything.
Yeah, he knows you're watching every move he's making. I think he's having a little fun with you.
He was throwing the ball fine.
When he ran to the end zone, I'm sure he's like, "Yeah, what are they going to say?"
Well, you know how far he ran, like 3 yards.
Right. Exactly.
and then they turn around and go the other way 3 yards, right? Because everybody's like, "Oh, look, that's a great
what a move!
Red zone play."
Did you see
him?
And
I said, "Well, they turned it around and they went the other way 3 yards." So it looked like all systems go with him. McCarthy said that he had a good response to the workout, and he was planning on kind of doing the same thing today. So. I'm sure it'll be listed as limited, and tomorrow when they have to give a designation of the practice because they don't practice on Friday, it'll be the estimation, and it'll be limited and questionable. Mm-hmm. And then he'll play.
And then everyone can speculate about how,
the
Cowboys better look out.
Yeah.
I don't think they should do before
and
they left home. Everyone's telling about how Cowboys should be real careful, as if the Cowboys don't know to be very careful.
Right.
It's so silly, man.
And all I know is, so I went back, I mentioned it, I think, yesterday, but I went back and looked at the stats, right? The 2014 playoff game when Aaron Rodgers had a calf muscle tear, they called it. It was the game against the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. He was 24 of 35 for 316 yards.
We went over this already,
touchdowns.
man. I hate hearing those. Yes,
well,
I hate hearing those numbers.
And he had a quarterback rating of 125.4.
You know why I hate hearing that? Because I was there in, was it 18? 18 or 16?
That was 14.
This was
14.
This
is 14. Yeah. Yes, that's why I hate hearing that because I was there for what happened
here.
Yes, here.
Yeah, here. Right.
To this day, it just haunts
So
me.
I'm thinking Aaron Rodgers played on one leg in that game, so just throw some spit on it and let's go.
Put a little mud on it.
Yeah.
But you're going to go ahead and
Little
keep
red dirt.
three quarterbacks on the roster. Would you do that?
Mike McCarthy said that would be a thought.
Okay.
And so
Will Greer being the third quarterback.
Right, exactly. I think who's it gonna cost them? Like some guy that's gonna play special teams? I don't know. I think
for you to belittle special teamers, I'm just so disappointed.
But I'm meaning if that's all the guys
Nick Ralston would like that money this week.
Yes, he
Yes,
would.
man,
Yes.
To
come
get
on.
activated, called up again.
Well, no, I mean it's not calling somebody up from the practice squad, but there's no need to do it if you're going to keep three quarterbacks, right? So I think as an insurance policy, I see no problem with it whatsoever.
And as McCarthy said, it's just the nature of those calf injuries. You're still concerned about it, even if he's out there playing. And
they still have their 2 open spots on the 53. I think one of them might go to Kelvin Joseph. Just watching the special teams workout that we get to watch, he was working on punt return, not as a returner, as the holdup guy on the gunner.
And that's not a surprise, since his date is Tuesday that they have to activate him anyway.
Exactly. So they may do. He may get activated, and then
and also with Kennedy out,
right?
So.
Take up what his spots were on the special teams.
Right.
So
So that's one of the spots that has been vacated on the roster, and so we've settled that one. You're going to go ahead. You're going to call that Kelvin Joseph for Maurice Kennedy, and so for the Brent Urban spot on the roster, what are you going to do?
Well, Dorrance Armstrong's going to play.
Okay.
So but he's already on the roster. You don't have to make another move, but if they wanted to, and depending on how Michael Gallup looks, you can get Michael Gallup out there also. And I don't know that you want to start him, but you might be able to work him in. Yeah, absolutely.
He practiced yesterday?
He did, and he was out there again today and did his rehab along with Tyron Smith and Zeke and Trayvon Diggs. Those guys all were on the resistance cords with Dak, and they all looked like they were doing just fine, and then they reported to their positions. So everybody was good to go.
Yeah, Tyron, that makes me feel much better.
Yes.
So that is really the decision. I think they've already made the decision. They're going with the 3 quarterbacks because of the nature of the calf injury, whatever. You just want to make sure. And so the decision would be Gallup versus the special teamer.
Right, somebody else.
Yeah,
right. And I don't think, I don't know that they do Tristan Hill after he's been out all this time, and he's had today.
Now that's who I was going to say.
Today was his only padded practice since the week of Game 5 last year. So I don't know that you do that. Francis Bernard, I guess, is the only other guy I could see bringing up is Sean McEwen. To that 53. And then you don't have to mess with Sprinkle. And I think he might be out of.
He would be, because he was in the same position as Ralston, and he's on the 53.
Did they end up signing him to the? I'm trying.
They did the same thing with Ralston, right?
Yeah.
And then they cut Ralston and re-signed him to the practice squad.
Sprinkle is on the 53.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if they wanted to,
what could happen on that is when McEwen's ready, Sprinkle gets cut, and then they try to put him on the practice squad again.
Exactly.
So.
When they need another spot, because at some point you're going to need some more spots for all these.
It's
guys
amazing the management of the roster, how much more complicated it has gotten with the new rules the last couple of years due to COVID, with the 3-week IR and everything.
Yeah.
And the expanded practice squad and the ability to bring up guys for a certain number. Is it 3 times you can bring them up, promote them from the practice
3 or
squad?
4, I think.
Which is what they did with Ralston and Sprinkle, and then you had to expose Ralston to waivers. Once you made that decision, you needed that roster spot. But whoever is making the final call on that each week, I mean, their head's got to be spinning. There's got to be multiple people that are managing that as the weeks go along here.
And then the only other practice update, La'el Collins was back out there, so evidently he did well yesterday. McCarthy intimated that he got some snaps at guard, said it was like riding a bicycle. He jumped right in there. But again, when we were watching them do their positional drills, when they lined up 5 offensive linemen, Steele was at right tackle, and Collins came in after him. Yeah. So the only thing I can think of with this thing about guard is maybe they want La'el Collins to be active as the backup swing tackle and also the backup left guard, because evidently they have not used.
That's talented.
They haven't used McGovern as the left guard very much. He's always been on the right side.
So can we try Lyle at center as well?
Well, might have to see if he can put his hand on the ball.
Come on.
Right?
he's playing everywhere else.
But it sounded like he had a good practice yesterday, and so we'll see where that one goes. And, there's all these notions of what they're going to trade, La'el Collins at the trade deadline, and all I'm saying is, why would you trade the second best tackle on your team? And I don't care if Steele starts, he's still the next best tackle to Tyron Smith. And don't do anything to diminish your 53-man roster when you're 5-1 and have a 3.5 game lead and try to get cute.
Right.
That just makes no sense to me.
Who is saying? I mean, you don't have to tell me who's saying it, but
that's what's
why would anyone say
around.
You're one injury away from you're starting Ty Nsekhe?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why I said
if you let
my suggestion is
you don't sound too excited about that, Bill. I mean, I just noticed your body language.
My suggestion is
twisting in your chair over there.
If they can qualify Collins being the backup swing tackle, then Ty Nsekhe doesn't have to be active for the game. And
nothing against him. He's 36 years old.
Yeah, and he doesn't move very well.
So if you were going to pick the most diverse offensive lineman, who would it be on this team right now?
Well,
and I don't mean just able to play. I mean
Zach Martin.
Zach Martin would be the most diverse.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could line him up at any position.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So take the future Hall of Famer out of the mix.
Yes.
Now who's next?
Thank you. Are you looking at Collins?
McGovern
is very, very
guard
diverse.
Center,
yes.
And he's still working and
fullback and tight end.
And I bet he could catch the ball too.
He probably. Hey man,
you're waiting on that.
That's going to be part of it.
Reveal
that. We'll run that one in SoFi.
That's right there with my. That's what right there with my Micah Parsons, the personal protector on the punt team.
That'll be the Big Mac special.
That's right.
That's the Big Mac.
Snap it to him.
The Big Mac special at SoFi.
You know who somebody that I really think benefited from this bye week is Cooper, Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Because he's always banged up. He's got something all the time. And we haven't heard a peep from him, which is a good thing.
And it sounded like the way McCarthy answered the question with Tyron Smith. I think he said something to the effect, it's a long season. So I think they'll go easy on him on Wednesdays and make sure they're not wearing him out in practice.
Because that does seem to be what happens, especially the last couple of years.
Yeah. So you don't want to do that.
So now, are you on Twitter right now?
I am, yes.
I mean, you're looking at Twitter right now?
I was, yeah.
Did you happen to see Amari Cooper? Is that what made you think of Amari Cooper?
No, actually,
because on Twitter right now, Amari Cooper talking to the media, and the quote, the bye week always feels longer for the body, at least. I came back pretty healthy. Okay. I feel healthy.
Oh,
as
very
close
good.
to 100% that I'll be.
Wow.
So that was a very timely Amari Cooper.
I put it down. Yeah, wow. And the other was... Okay, so we were talking about Dak's performance. You know, this, what do you call it? The behind
his rehab
scenes
regimen.
Yes, well, not just that, but this particular moment that's coming up to where he's going to give us just kind of a preview of what he can do. So
he's going to say,
He still has that session to go, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
probably about now.
Oh, you think he's doing now?
or before 2 o'clock. Yeah, somewhere.
And so that's going to be the one where he tests everything. I mean, we're going to be doing rollouts, bootlegs.
No. You're talking.
Oh, I thought
he's
you
talking
meant the
the
interview.
No interviews. No, I'm talking about in practice when he's going to do the dress rehearsal.
Today would be
it, right?
the padded practice.
Okay.
So it'd be interesting to see how much he
which
does.
we can't see.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, but they're going to give us a report.
And then
everyone's
tomorrow,
waiting on that.
Yeah, because the injury report so far has him limited.
Of course.
As was Dorrance Armstrong, Dak Prescott, Trayvon Diggs, and Tyron Smith.
And for everyone out there just aren't familiar with the schedule, they practiced, and now the post-practice interview with Dak is what we're waiting on.
Yes.
And so we will see how much Dak reveals about what he did at practice.
So
today.
did he have the dress rehearsal today? And I don't mean just going
that
out
would
there.
be your question to Dak. If you were out there right now ready to interview Dak, did you?
sure.
Was this your
No,
dress
he knows.
rehearsal?
He's the company man.
I'm
he already knows. He sees being all cagey over here.
I'm sure
Answer the question, sir.
somebody's going to ask the question, right? And then the key practice will be Saturday because they don't practice Friday, they practice Saturday.
And then they get on the plane and go to Minneapolis.
Right, exactly.
Doesn't that make you nervous?
That they practice on Saturday?
Yes. You know, with Dak's injury, you know, based on how tedious this whole thing is. And so he goes out there on Saturday. You know, we're feeling good after the dress rehearsal tomorrow, I guess, or whenever it is. You know when it is. You won't tell anybody. So you do that. Then you come back on Saturday. You're feeling good. You've already given the check. Okay, you can go ahead. Go with God. And he goes out there on Saturday.
Yeah, but it's not a hard practice. Sort of like Danny White pulling his hamstring doing sprints on Saturday before the Denver game that year.
See, there are so many things that you remember, Spags.
I remember that. That and Randy White also hurt himself on the supposed walkthrough before that game. So Mark Tooney, I think, ended up playing both defensive tackle and offensive tackle.
Well, we can come present day on
game.
it. We can come present day on it,
Okay.
right? Was it last year, Biotish?
Yes. No,
Okay.
but that was before the game.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
I mean, you can hurt yourself in pregame warm-ups
Yes.
too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, but you got to warm up. You got to practice, and so
You can hurt yourself on the day off stepping off the
man,
curb.
I'm telling you, when I was with the Giants, they had their own tradition. Pepper, LT, Banks, Renee, Thompson, Collins, Diassi. We were all out there after the Saturday practice. If we had a home game, we would stay out there and play flag football. I mean, we were balling too. We could have easily gotten hurt. No one ever got hurt. LT got mad at me one time because I pushed him down, but otherwise, everybody was no injuries at all. So go figure.
Yep.
How soft they are these days.
And speaking of that,
Yes.
there is an injury around the NFL that I want to mention in a second, and I want to compare this all-pro player with a couple of all-pro players from the Cowboys past and pose a question when we come back here on Mix Shots.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hey Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
It's game day, You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Mick Shots.
Get the ultimate fan experience for the ultimate Cowboys fan. Join Dallas Cowboys United, presented by Globe Life, starting at just $20. Join now and get your fan pack, exclusive benefits, and more. Visit dallascowboys.com/united for details and join today.
Very professional, sir.
That was. Okay, anything else you need to get to from your notes that are laid out in front of you?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the cautionary tale about as soon as somebody with a name gets released or they're available and they're old or older, oh, you got to pick that guy up.
Experienced.
Yes. So at 32 years old, the Arizona Cardinals signed J.J. Watt to a 2-year, $28 million deal with $20 million guaranteed and a $12 million signing bonus that you cannot get away from on the salary cap. 32. And he just suffered a dislocated shoulder that needs surgery, and he's going to be out for the season. And they will be on the salary cap next year, and we're going to assume you can come back from the shoulder surgery, right?
Yes, he can.
But if not, $15 million in dead money in 2022 for signing J.J. Watt.
Okay, let's go back through the history of J.J. Watt over the last, now, 6 seasons.
Right.
Okay,
and
this year...
Part of the cautionary tale, by the way.
This year, at age 32, he started 7 games for the Arizona Cardinals, 7 out of 17. Last year, he did play a full season for the Houston Texans, 16 starts, okay? In 2019, 8 starts, so half a season. 2018, 16 starts, okay? You had a full season in 18. 2017, 5 starts. In 2016, 3 starts. So he missed 13, 24, 32, and now 42 games over a 6-year period. An average of 7 games a season. So he's basically, over the last 6 years, only played half a season.
And they gave him a $12 million signing bonus.
Well, what were his stats before he went down?
Well, he was great.
That's right.
He was
That's
great.
right.
The first 5 years of his career. 2011.
Let's look at the other side of this.
Yeah, 2011 through 2015, we're talking a 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, a 5-time Pro Bowler, and one of the greatest defensive players to play this game.
That's right.
Over that first 5 years of his career. And but since then, he hasn't been available.
Now, this year, what did he have? 7 sacks?
No. Let me see.
He didn't have that many?
Because I think 6.
He made a huge play, if I'm not mistaken, to help him win the other day.
Let's see. Wow. Everson's on it there. Not 7, but 6 sacks this year. No, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong column there. Wrong column.
Okay.
That would be a 0 this year.
He has 0 sacks this year.
It's hard to sack the quarterback from that position, which is why he was so great the first 5 years of his career.
Because he was on the field.
His first 5 years of his career, to run it down, 5.5 sacks as a rookie. Okay, and okay, you can make this comparison. He was taken right after Tyron Smith was taken in that 2011 draft. And the Cowboys obviously had a need at tackle, but you can also look at, or do you get the Hall of Fame defensive lineman?
You don't question that pick.
That's right.
You don't question that
never,
pick.
ever question that.
Right.
Even when J.J. Watt in his second, even when J.J. Watt in the second year of his career was getting 20.5 sacks. In the third year of his career, 10.5 sacks. In the fourth year, 20.5 sacks again. And in the fifth year, 17.5 sacks. That is obviously first ballot Hall of Fame worthy and one of the greatest players to play this game the first 5 years of his career. But now we're looking 11 years in. He's age 32, and you see his, not because of injury, having the ability to stay on the field the last 6 years. Let me pose the question to you. Let's say, and hopefully J.J. Watt will come back from this and he'll play another 5 years and be great, whatever. But to compare, I want you to compare J.J. Watt's career to Randy White. What do you think?
Oh, Randy White played.
What do I think about what? I mean, give me something.
Well, I mean,
you asked me who I would take?
Who had or has had the better NFL career, Randy White or J.J. Watt?
There's no doubt it's Randy White. J.J. Watt, has he ever been to a Super Bowl?
No.
Okay. Has he ever been MVP? Well, since he hadn't been to a Super Bowl, he
can't be MVP of
Super Bowl. So let's just start right there. Right. I mean, this is just me. I mean, I'm going off the rails. I'd take Harvey Martin over J.J. Watt. I'm sorry, I would. You're talking 120-plus sacks?
See, that's the other thing that gets skewed on those players that played in the 70s prior to the NFL keeping track of sacks is now the Cowboys have gone back and tracked the sacks, but it doesn't get a lot of play. Like if you look on a Wikipedia page, it will not show necessarily that Harvey Martin had all the sacks that he had, or then NFL.com it won't. Or
well, they
Pro
took
Football
away
Reference.
2 of them, so
yeah.
And
for Randy White too, or for Bob Lilly for that matter, going way back.
And let's remember, Randy played 14 seasons.
Right.
And at a pretty high level until maybe that last one.
There's no comparison.
See, but I think people who were born after 1990, and Randy played through 89, and aren't familiar with Randy White's career.
Through 88.
Through 88, that's right. Yeah, because Tutal was here through 89.
Right.
But aren't that familiar with Randy White's career, then the recency bias takes over. And again, this is taking nothing away from J.J. Watt. But just to tell people who did not see Randy White play what a great player Randy White was, a dominant
I guess
player.
we just take it for granted that people know, but because of our age, and our familiarity with it. But to me, when you start looking at the Super Bowls, you look at the number of All-Pros. You look at his reputation alone, and you look at the numbers. I think Randy wins pretty much hands down every time. He didn't necessarily have, of course, the 20.5 sacks and all of that, but, man, he caused a lot.
I think the Cowboys have him credited with 111 sacks or something like that.
Randy White?
Yeah. They
that is
going
a lot
back,
of sacks.
Yeah, for a defensive tackle.
I did not know he had that many. That is a lot of sacks, and that is impressive.
Yeah.
Did we
From
talk
the
about
defensive
this?
tackle position.
Those guys that did the study, they went back and looked at all the old film.
And took Harvey's sacks?
And took sacks into account that didn't get counted from
I
82 on. I didn't bring that up. It happened in the summer, and I don't know what I did with the research, but there were two guys.
Why 82?
Because 82 was when the NFL officially counted sacks.
Okay.
It became an official statistic. Before that, it was just kept by the teams. So they didn't sanction all those sacks.
So it wasn't like recognized as a stat.
But these guys went back and looked at all the film from 1960 on and credited a bunch of guys with more sacks than they ended. Because if you look
Deacon
at
Jones, I'm sure
look at
was
Harvey
one of
Martin's stats, he only had 2 years that were qualified for 82 on, right? Same thing with Randy White. Same thing with Ed. And they found all the sacks that would have been sacks that didn't get recognized.
Did they give you? Do you have numbers?
I did.
He had Harvey. I'm looking at Harvey right now. 1977, 23 sacks. Okay, that's not recognized by the NFL. Okay,
somebody needs to.
and 16 sacks in 7. Okay, it's 23. 16 and 78. There's 39. 10 and 79. That's 49. 12 and 80. That's 61. 10 and 81. That's 71. 8 and 82 and 2 and 83. So there's 81 sacks over a 6-year period there.
I think
he ended up, I think, if I remember correctly, like in the top 10 of all-time sacks.
Harvey,
it moved him, or whatever his number was, it moved him up at least 10 or 20.
And you know what's so funny? If I recall, this was like around 20 years ago. Everybody's talking about he needs to be in here and needs to be in there, Ring of Honor Hall of Fame. They had actually done some type of correction, and they took away 2 of his sacks. I believe he was credited with 123 at one time, and they dropped it down to 121.
According to Cowboys stats, Martin is unofficially credited with a total of 114 sacks, according to this Wikipedia page I'm looking at right now.
Which is a nice little exercise Shannon's doing when they do the, I think it's called crosstalk on Wednesday night. They bring back a former player, and he gets on their Wikipedia page and says, "Okay, I'm going to give you
what's true and what isn't."
Right. I'm going to give you 5 facts. Tell me if they're accurate.
Yeah, I love it. And so the 23 sack season was in 1977.
Correct.
Was that a 14-game season?
Yes, it was the last 14-game
season.
78.
That is so impressive.
It was 16, yeah.
And he went to the strike year in '82.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why his numbers were down that year.
He had 8.
Yeah.
And
8 and 9 games.
9 games.
And Everson's too, right?
Of course, yeah. I had 7 picks in, But we're not talking about me, no.
All right, so we are in agreement then on Randy White.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll throw Bob Lilly in there too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And you would expect that here.
We're talking tackles only.
But
we're talking tackles.
They're having a different conversation on Cardinals.com, but we're right. So
this is talking Cowboys on Mick Shots.
That's right.
That's right. All right, and we're back with more Mick Shots in just a moment.
At Smoothie King, we are blending goodness to fuel your greatness. Every blend is crafted to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Smoothie King uses only whole fruits and organic veggies. You'll never find sugary syrups or artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And unlike some other smoothie places, there are 0 grams of added sugar in many of our blends. Smoothie King is proud to be the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys. Place your order in the app or online for pickup or delivery. Smoothie King, rule the day.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
Back to Mick Shots.
Energize your next event with an appearance by the world-famous Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Ignite your audience and create personalized moments for all. To book America's Sweethearts for the next event, visit DallasCowboyCheerleaders.com/appearances.
We have gone. Bill, it's your turn next.
Just went a little too fast there.
Yeah, I thought your mic went out.
You just froze up.
Yeah, he just froze on us, man. He didn't just stutter on it. He froze.
I caught myself.
I thought you had to breathe. I was going to come give you a...
during that moment when you froze up, how long did it feel like?
5 seconds.
Yeah, it did feel like 5 seconds.
It was probably a second and a half.
Right.
I was about to come give him the highlight.
It's one of the things when you're on television and you're talking.
You got to keep going, right?
You got to keep going, but like you'll lose your train of thought, and you just freeze in your mind. You freeze, and it feels like 30 seconds. You're stuck for 30 seconds trying to find that word, but actually, the people at home a lot of times they don't even notice.
No, they don't.
You know, but it's
sort of like
it's just this.
We will
panic.
make sure and call
Did you have
attention
that,
to it.
Mick? Did you have that panic feeling that I don't know where to go next?
I'm sure our presence doesn't help. Our presence does not help.
I used to do that on those pregame shows, by the way. Actually, Zeke did it again yesterday. He was answering a question, and he kind of got into the middle of his answers. Got into his middle of his answers, and then there was just and it was just this long. I mean, it was a pregnated pause.
I've done that. I'm so sorry.
And he goes, and you know what he goes? He goes.
I don't even remember.
He goes, did it again. Because he's done it multiple times, right? He gets He gets in the middle of an answer and he forgets what the question was.
Hey, we've been there.
Oh,
yes, we have.
Yes,
Mickey gets to talking. I forget what he's talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I forget what I'm talking about.
Hey, how about those Vikings?
How about those Vikings? What are you going to do to beat those Vikings on Sunday night?
My key
running game.
My key to victory is going to be you better score a bunch of points because I think you're going to give up a bunch of points.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat worried about the defense.
I am too. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what everyone thinks about it in this room around the league. Everyone's so quarterback happy and prejudiced and discriminatory. I think Kirk Cousins plays above his head every week. And I that makes me nervous because he can inspire his team very well. We talked about the bad losses, but the close losses and the lucky wins that they had. And you look at how well they played against some decent teams. I don't feel comfortable about them coming in here, especially with the good wide receiver they have.
Good wide receivers.
Sorry, thank you very much. Don't know much about their running game. Talk to me, Spags.
Cook.
Dalvin Cook is back in the saddle.
I remember he was hurt for a minute.
He was hurt,
yes.
But he's back. And he's
one game. Yeah, good game.
The previous game last week, he had 100 and some yards.
Yes.
And Kirk Cousins is completing 69.5% of his passes. He's got 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
That's good.
And he's got a 105.4 quarterback rating.
Sounds very familiar.
And his targets. Justin Jefferson's 41 catches for 542 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then Thielen, 37 catches, 5 touchdowns.
And, of course, Justin Jefferson was a Pro Bowler as a rookie last year, had 88 catches for 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns his rookie season out of LSU. Thielen has been in the Pro Bowl twice. And
he caught a one-hander on us, if I'm not mistaken.
And not only they've got a 1-2 punch at running back, just like the Cowboys do with Zeke and Tony Pollard. This season, Dalvin Cook, as you alluded to, Everson, he's missed a couple of games with injuries, but Alexander Mattison comes in and runs for over 100 yards in the games that Cook missed. And so his last game, Cook's last game against Carolina, 140 yards on 29 carries, so they really ran the ball. And against Arizona, he had 131 yards on 22 carries, while Madison had 112 against Seattle and 113 against Detroit.
Wow.
So.
And just to remind you of last year, although the Cowboys came back after trailing 28-24 with 9:37 left, they came back to score and win the game against Minnesota. Dalvin Cook and so this is probably not representative of this defense,
right?
But last year, he rushed for 115 yards. Thielen had 8 catches for 122,
with a
and
touchdown.
the rookie Jefferson had 3 for 86, including a 39-yard touchdown. So to me, this game's going to come down, and they finished with 430 yards total offense. Cousins threw for 305 and 3 touchdowns. He had 140 quarterback rating. So to me, whatever the Cowboys offense does, this defense, I think this is the test now where they're at. This is going to be arguably the best quarterback they've played since
Brady.
Herbert.
Yeah, Herbert.
Oh, he smirked. He must not think much of Justin Herbert.
Not too much.
Okay.
Okay, well, you had Brady and Herbert to start the
Right.
season.
Yeah.
And then
you had Sam Darnold.
who's fading quickly.
Yes.
Jalen
starting
Hurts.
with us. Starting with
right.
us.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, who already faded.
Daniel Jones, who's kind of coming on.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm. Who's going to be coming on. Yeah.
And once again, it depends on who they're
rookie.
playing now.
Right.
You got to look at who they're playing, so let's not get too excited.
So Kirk Cousins would be the best quarterback, and they've had problems defending the pass.
Yes.
And
Diggs' interceptions can really,
which, by the way,
camouflage a lot of problems that we have.
So if you're the defensive coordinator, you got to go up against Jefferson and Thielen. How are you going to play the corners? You're going to put Diggs on one of them? You're going to double the other? What would you do?
I would rather put Diggs on the more experienced wide receiver.
Thielen?
Yes. I think he is an amazing wideout. I don't think he is dynamic as Jefferson. Mm-hmm. That's why I would rather put Brown.
And maybe double help out with a safety on that side.
Because when you're looking at Thielen, you're looking at a steady diet. You're not looking for just a big play. He can do that as well. Mm-hmm. But he's extremely efficient at moving the chains. So he's going to be intermediate routes are going to be part of his bag. And when you get in the red zone, we saw what he can do in the red zone.
Yeah.
Very smart. Okay, he's got the intellect of CeeDee Lamb and Cooper and those guys. So what you're looking at is what you saw in practice, all those training camp practices that you had. This is the game where you get this. That's what you're preparing for. These types of games where, Kirk Cousins is really playing well. His numbers look just like Dak's. So you can't just take him for granted. And he's got a running game behind him.
Right.
Man, you're looking at the Dallas Cowboys offense.
And their third receiver, KJ Osborne's in his second year, 5th-round draft pick last year. He's got 26 catches this year. And so he's emerged this year.
And when you're looking at teams like this, just like with the Cowboys, what do the tight ends look like, Bill?
Well, the tight end position for them, Tyler Conklin has 22 catches for 240 yards and a touchdown. Chris Herndon is their blocking tight end. And they're two tight. And then Ben Ellefson is another one.
Any smart quarterback, just like Dak, they know how important their tight end is. You can look at all the fluff on the outside and then slot all you want. It's the tight ends that really get you those much-needed yards when you need the chains moved.
On Herndon, he had 31 catches last year. He hasn't put up the numbers this year. The thing that they've done – go ahead.
I was going to say, but Conklin's a first down waiting to happen. He's averaging almost 11 yards a catch.
Our linebackers are going to get work. Because you're talking about Cooks, not just running, but you're also talking about receiving.
But what they've done, what Minnesota has done, that they're getting more and more credit for now, is they've invested in their offensive line. Their offensive line is much better than what it was a couple of years ago.
That's why everyone's
what they've done. And I can run it down real quick. They 2019, they spent a first-round draft pick on their starting center, Garrett Bradbury. 2018, the year before that, a second-round pick on their right tackle, Brian O'Neill, who's one of the more underrated players in the league. First-round draft pick this year, 23rd overall, Christian Darrisaw just started his first game. He had an injury to start the year, and he just started his first game against Carolina. Okay. So there's 2 first-round picks and a second-rounder there. on their offensive line at the center and the 2 tackle positions. And then Ezra Cleveland is a starting guard who last year was a second-round draft pick. So we're talking 2 first and 2 seconds on their offensive line.
All of that sounds so familiar.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
It works, too, doesn't it? Because then you can run the football. And you know what? And by the way, speaking of running the football, last year the Cowboys ran for 180 yards on the Vikings. So, and that was got to have been Andy Dalton at quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did run on them. And I heard Zeke was talking about, he mentioned that he said the Vikings like to play a lot of shell coverage. I guess meaning keeping the safeties over the top. He said, so that means we need to run the football.
That's it. Make them bring those safeties down.
Right.
When you bring them down, then our receivers get the feed.
Xavier Woods.
Oh, that's right.
Safety for the Vikings.
Wow. Forgot all about him.
Mm-hmm. The other one's pretty good. Harrison Smith, 5-time Pro Bowler.
He's good.
Patrick Peterson's out.
He's on injured reserve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, those old contracts.
Yeah, there you go. Don't get Mickey started here.
And I see where Danielle Hunter has 6 sacks.
In 6 games, yep.
But you know what? I noticed 3 of those, half his sacks.
Against Arizona.
Were against Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
And then the same thing, I saw somebody going, well, Everson Griffin's really playing well for him. Well, he's got 11 tackles in 5 games, but he's got 4 sacks. But 2 of them came against Detroit.
Well, and one thing on Hunter, Mike McCarthy, in talking with him about him the other day on the coaches show, he has a lot of respect for him.
He's played against him enough, probably.
He has, and it's not just his sacks, but he's a disciplined player. He has a lot of respect for the way he plays the run, and he's one of those defensive linemen who most teams they'll rotate in defensive linemen where you're only playing about 35 snaps a game. Well, he's one of those guys that gets 65 snaps a game, so he's on the field all the time. I mean, he's a workhorse. So it's been big for them to have him back this year because he missed all last year with a neck injury.
Right, and he's got a bunch of tackles too. It's not just sacks.
Right.
He can be destructive.
And he usually lines up on the left side. So
Griffin had 2
that'll be Terrence Steele versus Danielle Hunter. So
you like that?
Well, we'll see on Sunday night.
What happened to the optimism, Bill? Come on, you're supposed to be, I can't wait. Go get them, Steele.
You have not been exposed to my love for Danielle Hunter.
Oh, okay.
Going back to 2015.
He wanted to draft him.
I wanted to draft Danielle Hunter in the first round of that draft.
I think you said that yesterday. Yes.
Yeah, and I say that every day, even when the Cowboys aren't playing the Vikings, and so. He was.
I gotta take a look at this kid.
I'll show you. I'll send you a picture of him when he was at LSU. Okay, which got me mesmerized when he was 20 years old. He came out at age 20. Did not have very much in the way of stats at LSU in his career, but you could just see if you watch the film of him the potential that was there. And obviously Mike Zimmer saw it. But nobody else in the league did because he was still available, the 88th pick in the draft.
You ever thought to be a scout? Huh? Come on, think about it.
But what I do remember, I miss on a lot of them. I just don't talk about it.
In 10 years, I'm going to be saying, I told them they needed to draft Micah Parsons.
That's right. But I do remember on draft night, we were sitting over at Valley Ranch, and I was on a show with Dane Brugler and Brian Broaddus. I came in and right before they picked Randy Gregory, and the Cowboys were on the clock. Okay, what do? Do you pull the trigger on Randy Gregory here? And I remember saying, well, I would have pulled the trigger on Danielle Hunter in the first round, and he's still here. That's the guy that I want. So, but anyway.
Yeah.
So,
all right. We won't talk about that.
Who gets the most sacks on Sunday night? Is it Randy Gregory or against their first-round draft pick Darisaw?
There you go.
Or is
Set
it
it up, baby.
Hunter
Set
against
it up.
Terrence Steele?
We'll talk more about that one.
All right.
I think I got a pick to click coming up.
There you go. All right. More Mick Shots tomorrow at 1:30.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!